Hey, are you out there? Are you listening? I know I'm here. I've been itching all week to get in front of the microphone and tell you guys about our ballistic movements in the dark. And only the old guys are going to get that reference. You young guys, you got no idea. Jared doesn't even get it. Jared, do you get the reference?
Nope, I have no idea.
See, he does not get the reference at all. But you old guys, that's kind of like an Easter egg for you dudes. Well, we we told you last week that we were going to be on the road all week long, and we actually were. What do we have, Jared? Let me see. 4 days, 1,600 miles, 16 hours of sleep total, and what was the body count? 3 coyotes and 5 hogs between you and I, or something like that.
I don't know.
Something like that.
I have to think about it.
You have to think about it. Okay. He's thinking about it. But yeah, 1,600 miles in 4 days. We literally got, in 4 days, we got maybe 16 hours sleep total. What do you think, Jared?
I would say less.
Yeah, between 15 and 16 hours of sleep. And we're back. We're back in the Student of the Gun studios. So did you guys miss us? Because we sure did miss you guys. But we're not here to talk about missing you or you missing us. We're here to talk about our ballistic movements in the dark. And while we were up there, obviously, or maybe not so obvious, we told you we were going to use some products from our sponsors. We told you we were going to take the Colt LE901, and we did that. We took some products from the Brownells catalog, a bunch of accessories and so forth. And most importantly, well, maybe not most importantly, but at very close to, what do you think, Jared? You think SWAT Fuel was close to the top of one of the...
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, that's right. So we took along SWAT Fuel. Now, SWAT Fuel has distributor pricing for gyms and schools and dojos and whatever you want to call your little house of pain there. And if you order from SWATfuel.com, you want to make sure that you use the promo code SOTG2014. That's Sierra Oscar Tango Golf 2014. Well, what do I get, Paul? If I put that promo code in, what do I get? Well, you get 20% off your total order. How righteous is that? That's totally righteous.
And if you don't just want to hear it from us that it works, we actually gave some to our guide, Anthony, and he also gave us a testimony that it helped him.
What was really cool about that is we were doing night hunting, so what we would do is we would hunt in the evening until dark, and then once the sun went down, we'd go back to camp, eat dinner, and then hang out for a couple hours, and around between 11 and midnight, we would go back out into the field and hunt until dawn, basically. Hunt until, 5 a.m.? And as you guys know, or maybe you don't, but I'm here to tell you that the hours between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. it's kind of like the witching hour. It's the nod hour. It's really, people who stay up till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. partying, woo, no problem, I can do that. And people who get up early, they wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. to go to work, they're like, yeah, no problem. But it's that time. If you guys have ever stood post, stood watch, done security, been on midnight shift, that time, if you can power through the hours between, let's say, 3:30 a.m. and 5 a.m., if you can power through that, once you get on the other side, you're okay. But it's that time that just makes you want to go to sleep. Your body wants to nod off. It wants to go to sleep. And we were talking about that, and we talked to our guide, Anthony, who's also, he's not just a guide. He's the hunt director at the Spike Box Ranch where we were, but we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Anyway, so we let him have we gave him some SWAT fuel, and I told him, he said, well, is it like 5-hour energy? Or I'm like, no, it's not. It's not going to give you the shakes, and it's not going to give you the crash or the jitters or what have you. And so we went out the first night, and the next day at lunchtime, he said, you know what? He said, that I got through it. He said, I didn't realize it until the next day. And that's the one thing about SWAT fuel is you don't feel like you're on cocaine or not that I would know what that was all about, or amphetamines or whatever. You don't feel like you're hyperactive, like your heart's about to explode and jump out of your chest or something like that. You just power through what you need to do. It's kind of like Jared's story about being on a treadmill or being in the ring or whatever. You get in there and I'm going to do 3 rounds, and then you do 5 rounds, and you're like, dang, wasn't even planning. I didn't even want to do 5 rounds, but here I am doing more than I thought I was going to. Or you get on the treadmill and you tell yourself, well, I'm going to do 30 minutes on the treadmill. And then you get to 30 and you're like, I can keep going. You do 35, 40, 45. You do 45 minutes and you're like, man, I wasn't even planning on doing that long, but I just did. And then you realize, well, it's the same thing with SWAT Fuel. You just power through it. You get on through and then you get to the other side and you're like, man. It was a testimonial that Anthony gave us. He said usually, between 3 and 4, he goes, my eyelids are getting really heavy and I get that droopy head, where your neck starts to become rubber and you're kind of like bouncing up and down, snapping yourself back awake. And he said the first night that you guys were here, so I guess it was been the second night we gave them the SWAT Fuel. He goes, first night you guys were here, I had that around 3 o'clock in the morning. I had that, droopy eye thing. My eyelids were heavy. I couldn't focus, And he goes, and then the next night, he goes, I didn't have that. He goes, I didn't realize it until we got back to camp, and I was sitting around. I was like, man, my eyelids weren't heavy. I was able to focus and see. I wasn't doing the snappy neck thing. So he's a believer now. Our Anthony up at Spikebox is a believer. And so check it out. Go to SWATfuel.com and find out for yourself. Whether you're a new shooter or a skilled competitor, Brownells is the source for all your gun-related needs. From hard-to-find gun parts and ammunition to gunsmithing tools and concealed carry accessories, they have it. And it's all backed by their industry-exclusive 100% satisfaction guarantee forever. Visit them at brownells.com or call 800-741-0015. Brownells is service, selection, and satisfaction. And we all need some satisfaction every once in a while. Right, Jared? Of course we do. All right. In my show notes, it says, Paul, before you get into the meat of it, talk about the Blackhawk Legacy Light giveaway. Okay, we'll do that. And we introduced it. Was it last week or the week before? I guess it was last week, wasn't it, Jared? This is week 2, right?
Yeah, this is week 2.
Okay. So last week we introduced you guys, we told you about the Blackhawk Legacy Light giveaway. It's a very cool LED light. It's a $100 value. And we're giving away 4 of them during the month of October. We've already given away 1. And you're like, well, cool, Paul. Who are you giving it away to? We're giving them away during the bonus hour of Student of the Gun Radio every week. And we're doing that because it's the bonus hour. And that is a bonus. What? Yeah, it's a bonus hour. And all you have to do is sign up for the bonus hour and listen, and you hear your name, and then you run around the room like a crazy person screaming, I won, I won, I won. And then what do you have to do, Jared? When you say their name during the bonus hour, what do they have to do in order to claim their cool Legacy Light prize?
They have to send in a confirmation email confirming that they actually use that email address, and I also need the address and everything, so we know where to send the light.
Right, exactly.
And I give them 24 hours, so if you answer within 24 hours, then I'll send you the light. If not, then we pick another winner.
Okay, cool. Now, do you have the name of our last week's winner in front of you, or do you remember?
It's not in front of me, but I can look it up real quick.
Okay. Well, congratulations, because we already have our first winner for the month of October. And like we said, when we launched the bonus hour, it is a subscriber. It's the big boy time, iTunes and Stitcher and what you're listening to right now. This is family-friendly lyrics, so, we keep it family-friendly. And we're not gratuitous during the bonus hour, but Paul says what needs to be said, and that's the end of that story. So if you want to hear things that you normally could not hear during the iTunes or the Stitcher or the Pod Gallery or whatever you happen to be using to listen to this, studentofthegunradio.com or the app, don't forget about the mobile app. And Jared, like we said, is right now we're in behind the scenes. We're in the process of upgrading the app. Is that not correct, Jared?
Yeah, we're in the process of it. I actually got an email last night from our friend Sally saying, "How soon is soon?" They're getting impatient.
How soon?
Because I said it's going to be soon. So it takes 7 days for Apple to approve it. So
oh yeah,
it's going to be at least 7 days. I haven't submitted it just yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What you guys don't know is because all you want to do is you want to punch a little button on your phone or your laptop or your iPad or whatever, and you just want to listen. What you don't know is behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff a lot of moving parts, A lot of things that are going on there, and we're taking care of those moving parts right now.
And last week's flashlight runner was Robert from Oklahoma City.
Rock on, Robert! Well, it's a good thing Robert's got himself a good light, so he can keep an eye on the Johnny Jihads up there.
Oh yeah.
So, and when we get into this, we're going to tell you something that we did that was very charitable, because we like to be charitable here at Student of the Gun University. Do we not, Jared?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Are you ready to jump into it?
I am ready.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get into the details here, and maybe Jared will come up with some cool music, and maybe he won't. I don't know. But here's what we did. Student of the Gun, Jared and I, we packed up the rental car because we wanted to save some gas, and if you get a small rental car, we got like 38 miles to the gallon or something out of that thing. It was pretty righteous. And we drove from Biloxi, Mississippi, all the way up to Benjamin, Texas. And you're like, where in the world is Benjamin, Texas, Paul? I know my Texas geography, but I don't know where Benjamin is. That's because Benjamin is population 258, according to the sign.
Yeah, I was going to say the sign's a little outdated, apparently.
Yeah, and Anthony said, he goes, yeah, you probably take about 50 or 100 off of that. That was the old census. But anyway, there's an area up in, I guess it's not in the panhandle or the top of Texas, but if you go to Dallas, you get out on, what is it, 82/144, and you go west about 2.5, 3 hours. There's King County and there's Knox County, and that is where the Spike Box Ranch is located. Now, the Spike Box Ranch is just a little place. It incorporates, what do you say, about roughly 100,000 acres.
Yeah.
Just a little piece.
Just a little piece of land.
Little 100,000 acre ranch up there in around Benjamin, Texas. And in addition to, thousands upon thousands of head of beef that they have there, they have stockyards. Was it stockyard? What do you call it? Feed yards? I'm trying to get my vernacular correct. Now, a stockyard is what you have like in Chicago, but a feed yard is where they bring them out of the fields, put them in a feed yard before they load them up on trucks and they take them to the slaughterhouse. But suffice it to say, there's a lot of cattle up there, a lot of free-range grazing cattle outside of Benjamin, Texas. But what else do they have? Well, they got pigs. They got wild hogs. Matter of fact, they got too many wild hogs. As most counties in the state of Texas have way too many feral hogs and wild hogs. And when you're trying to raise cattle or sheep or grain or rice or whatever you're trying to do agriculturally, the hogs get in there and they screw everything up. Right now, if you know anything about Texas, they're under a 5-year drought, 5 years less rain than they should be having. And it's hard enough to get your crops to grow and to feed your cattle without the pigs coming in there and destroying the crops you just planted and fighting with the cattle over water and food and all that jazz. So we wanted to help them out, and we wanted to kill some of them. Now, the reason we went up there was because we were invited by our new friends at DRT Ammunition, and that stands for Dynamic Research Technologies. And you guys are giggling out there. Some of you are like, really? That's what DRT stands for? Dynamic Research Technologies? That's what's on the box. So essentially how the projectile works from DRT, you have a copper jacket, and it's filled with a compressed metal core. And when it impacts something hard, meets resistance, the metal jacket comes away, the powdered core opens up, and you have all the ballistic energy dumping into the target, into the animal, what have you. And it works very, very well. As a matter of fact, one of the main example of how well DRT bullets work came during the demonstration. Well, it was a demonstration. It was a field demonstration of the 300 Blackout cartridge. And if you guys are hip, if you're in the know in the gun world and the shooting world, everybody kind of got a little chubby for the 300 Blackout. What 3 years ago, Jared? I guess it was. I guess it was about 3 years ago. Everyone's all excited. Ooh, 300 Blackout. And I actually kind of, myself and several other guys who've been in the industry for a long time found it kind of funny that people were getting excited about this cartridge called the 300 Blackout when essentially it was the 300 Whisper. And the 300 Whisper, which was designed by J.D. Jones like in the 80s. Has been around for a long, long time. But AAC came up with their own load, and they called it the 300 Blackout. Essentially, it was a 30 caliber cartridge that you could fire from a standard AR-15 size gun. You put it in AR-15 magazines, same action, everything. Just a 30 caliber barrel and a 30 caliber bullet. And the Blackout came in different bullet weights and configurations. And one of the big things that they did with this is they made it subsonic. There were very heavy bullets that were traveling around 990 feet per second. Well, when combined with an AAC silencer, it's extremely quiet. Matter of fact, it's so quiet that you just hear the action of the gun, you hear the hammer dropping, the action cycling, and then you hear the bullet impacting, pop, in the target. And that's it, because there is no supersonic crack. Now, the problem with that, as you guys may have already figured out, is that once you get beyond 25, 50, 75 yards, you've got a projectile that the ballistic coefficient of that, it kind of shoots like a rainbow. It kind of goes up and down. And I'll tell you this, my experience with the Blackout cartridge as a hunting cartridge is that it is maxes out at about 75 yards, really. This is not a long-range cartridge. You're not going to... People are like, oh, man, that's crap. I bitch my gun and I... All right. Yeah, that's cool. You're shooting paper or cardboard or whatever. Am I saying you can't hit a steel target at 200 yards with it? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, because I've shot live creatures, and I've spent a lot of time talking to other people who shot live creatures with Blackout cartridges, and basically the effect on target, the effect on the animal was pretty anemic. It was not impressive at all. So that being a given, when they came out with and this is brand new, when DRT came out with a 300 Blackout cartridge, everyone was kind of like, is this really going to work or not? Well, the very first night we were out, this was the first night for sure, because we started late because some people arrived later because of car issues and so forth. We got there. We got out at night. We got on our first hog, and the guy from House of Guns, Ebbs, was next to me, and he had the Smith & Wesson rifle, M&P 15, chambered in 300 Blackout, and it had the DRT ammo in it. And he shot the hog. The hog bucked, and it jumped, and it kind of took off. But he fired another round or two, but it went down. We found the hog, and this isn't in pitch blackness. We were shooting with night vision. Found the hog, took it the next day and autopsied it. And I guess the killing shot actually went right behind the hog's shoulder. If you guys know anything about the physiology of hogs or wild hogs, if you want to put a hog down, where do you have to shoot it?
The killing shot was in the guts.
Yeah,
it wasn't right behind the shoulder. It was about it missed the vital area.
Yeah, hogs, all the really important stuff to kill a hog, to put it down, is from its shoulders forward to its nose. A lot of deer hunters, when they're hunting hogs, what they'll do is they'll get that perfect profile shot, and they line the crosshairs up behind the shoulder, thinking like they're hunting a whitetail, and they put the bullet behind the shoulder, and the animal drops, boom, it goes down. Well, with a hog, it's not the case. You shoot a hog behind the shoulder, and that sucker's going to run away, and he's going to die the next county over. Yeah, he's going to bleed to death eventually, but you're probably not going to find him. And in Texas, when you have all the nasty, the brush country and the thickets and so forth, these hogs, they'll take off, get into these thickets, and you'll never find them. If they get a couple of 100 yards off down into a riverbank, say goodbye. Their skin is so thick and so tough that when the bullet enters, it's almost, the bullet hole seals up pretty tight, and you're not going to get a big blood trail. It's not like putting a razor, through a whitetail, and you can, follow the foamy blood or what have you all the way to the animal. With hogs, you get very little bleed out. Anyway, my point is this. When we autopsied that hog and cut it open and I took a look at it, if that would have been a conventional bullet, the hog went about, 50 yards from where it was shot, Jared?
Yeah, it was about 50 yards.
Yeah. So with a conventional bullet, a normal standard bullet, we probably would not have found that hog. He probably would have bolted with that shot and gone, and he'd have been out of town. So I was pretty impressed by the way that 300 Blackout bullet went in and did its business. Now, that is a brand new cartridge. It's something that is, like, as you're hearing this, it is just now hitting the stores. You might be thinking, well, I haven't heard about that yet. And well, the reason you haven't heard about it yet is because maybe the stores near you don't even have it. But the DRT 300 Blackout, if you got a 300 Blackout gun and you're planning on shooting something other than, just paper or steel targets or what have you. Yeah, and that's the thing. People are like, whoa, what are you bashing my 300 for, Paul? I'm not, dude. But I'll tell you this, there's a big difference between shooting, steel poppers or paper targets and shooting something that is alive and has adrenaline flowing through its veins. And when it gets hit, is going to bolt and run. So that was the first night. Put that hog down with a 300 Blackout. Good job, Ebbs. What's Ebbs' full? Eric. Eric is his real name, but everybody calls him Ebbs from House of Guns. So we got out there and spent all night and kind of walked around and got back. And the next day we did a walking hunt. I got a coyote, shot a coyote. Then we had I don't think we have time to do the monarch butterfly story, do we?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Do you want to do it during this part, or do you want to do it during the last part?
Oh, let's do it during the bonus hour.
Yeah.
It's more...
Yeah, well...
it's better.
I've been hunting. I'm not I wouldn't say I'm like a life hunter or a big time hunter. I'm not, what's that, Jim Shockey or somebody like that. But I've hunted enough to know what to do in the field. And I've been, how other animals, you're hunting for an X and another animal will bust you out. I've been out hunting for hogs and been busted out by white-tailed deer. Or domestic cattle will moo or carry on because they see you, and then the hogs also get spooked and they take off. Even crows and what have you will bust you out in the field. I've been busted out by lots of different animals, but I've never been busted out by monarch butterflies until this trip. And that's the story we're going to talk about in detail during the bonus hour. But what else do we want to talk about, Jared? We want to talk about playing dress up or using gear?
Yeah, let's talk about if you have gear, and shame on you if you don't, but are you just playing dress up with it, or are you actually getting out and using it?
Yeah, during the last, let's face it, 5 years at least, 5-6 years, but especially since 2011, 2012, you guys out there have gone out and bought black rifles and ammunition, and you ran Brownells and every other online dealer out of magazines within a month. So what happened to all that stuff? So what we have now is tens of thousands of American citizens, armed citizens, who bought black rifles and they bought magazines. And then after they did that, what did they buy? They bought optics, and they bought slings, and they bought, plate carriers and load-bearing vests and magazine pouches and survival packs. And after you guys did that, you thought, well, if I've got all this, then maybe I need to get some tactical clothing. So you went out and you bought camouflage clothing. You shopped on, if you really have some expendable income, you went to Cry Precision, or you went to the Blackhawk site. And I've never, in 14, 15 years of being involved with Blackhawk and using their stuff, gone to their website and seen so much out of stock product as during 2012-13. 2012 into 13, you go to the Blackhawk website or the Brownells website or anybody, and you try and order a Blackhawk pack, out of stock. Try to order boots, out of stock. Try to order clothes, out of stock. Gloves, out of stock. Holy crap, you guys bought up everything. So you got guys out there, guys and girls, but mostly guys, I would say, who went and did that. They got all this cool ninja gear, right? You got your guns and your slings and your vests and your packs and your boots and your clothes and all that stuff. Now, my question to you is this. Since you bought all that stuff, have you actually gone to a training course? Have you taken live training so you can get familiar and comfortable and get confidence in your gear? Do you have confidence in your ability to use that gun, to use those accessories, to use that optic, what have you? And how about the clothing and the packs and the gear and the load-bearing vests? You bought them, You know, I hear all the time people ask me about plate carriers. You know, what plate carrier should I get? What load bearing vest should I get? What have you? Did you get one of those? And when it came in the box, you opened the box and you put it on, and you stood in front of the mirror and you looked at yourself, made sure that it fit, made sure that the boots fit, rock on, made sure that the clothes fit. Okay, they fit. Have you ever taken them out? Have you ever actually used them? Some of you may have, gone to your local range. So you go to your local range, you unload your car, you put everything on the concrete bench, and you spend an hour or so shooting your gun, generating, once fired brass. Okay, that's cool too. Something like a hog hunting trip. You're like, why hogs, Paul? Well, I'm going to tell you why hogs. The great thing about killing hogs is that they're varmints. They are a pest animal. They're not your traditional game animal. So because they're not a traditional game animal like an elk or a whitetail or what have you, the restrictions on the taking or killing of them are a lot less. The caliber restrictions are basically non-existent. The time restrictions, like you guys, if you've ever hunted whitetail, you know that you have to have the sunrise sunset tables. I think, like in Ohio, gun season was official sunrise and official sunset, but archery season was 30 minutes prior to official. I'm not sure how that works, but it's like you had to know the exact time, 6:08 a.m., 5:45 p.m., 5:37 p.m. And if you fire one shot 30 seconds after that, you're wrong, you're a criminal. If there's a game warden nearby, he's got his ticket book out and he's fining you because the sun went down and it's exactly 5:45 and you shot your gun at 5:50. Now you're wrong and here's your ticket. Well, with hogs, there is no such thing. In Texas, you can hunt hogs sunset, sun up, 24 hours a day. Anywhere they are found, they can be killed. You don't need to get a special tag. You don't have to load the hogs up in the back of your truck. And when you kill one, put a tag on it, drive it to a check-in station, and check it in with the local game warden. There's none of that nonsense. You kill it, you do what you need to do with it, and you move on with your life. And the great thing about like hogs versus a traditional game animal, like let's say you go out after your big trophy buck, you want your Boone and Crockett deer or what have you. Once you kill it, you're done. You kill that deer, and then you do all the after stuff, the tagging and the taxidermy and all that. And it's one deer. But folks, if you want to put some what they call it, metal onto meat, hogs are the way to go. There's no bag limit on hogs. Now, some ranches, some of these the pay-to-play ranches that you go to, will only allow you to kill one hog, and then if you want to kill another, you have to pay another fee and another fee and like so forth. Some of them shop around. Jared, would you say that the first place we went to in Texas down at Grand Crystal Springs would you not recommend it?
Yeah, I would. Wait, which one?
The one we went to with Dustin.
Oh, I would recommend the Spike Box Ranch.
Yeah, Spike Box Ranch.
Definitely.
Well, shop around, because some of these places will say you get one hog or you get two hogs, and anything over two is an extra $500 or what have you.
Yeah, obviously there's a feral hog problem in Texas, so you should probably just shoot as many as you can see.
Yeah, and I understand it costs these guys money. I mean, guides cost money, trucks cost money, fuel costs money. I understand that part. But if you go to you pay your hunting fee, and you go to a ranch and they tell you get to kill one hog, and then if you want another one, it's an extra $250 or something like that, I would keep shopping. Because there are so many. Right now, the Texas Department of Fish and Game or Natural Resources or whatever they call themselves is estimating 3.4 million feral hogs in the state of Texas. And that's up from 1.5 million in 1990. So we're looking at like a period of 24 years, the population more than doubled. And I was doing some research last night because I've got an article coming out. I was doing some research, and they found that in order to keep that if you took a median average between 1.5 and 3.4 million, and you get, let's say, there's only 2.6 million feral hogs in Texas. Let's just say that. There's only 2.6 million. And they said, in order to maintain the population at its current rate year to year, to keep it from increasing, because, let's face it, hogs are prolific. You'd have to kill 66% of the total population each year to maintain the current numbers. And that's hunting, that's droughts, that's disease, that's all natural predators. That's all that. You'd have to put down 66% just to maintain it at its current level. And folks were not even coming anywhere close to 50%, much less 60%. I think the average that they're actually doing, they're figuring somewhere between hunting and trapping and all that they might be getting between 15 and 25% of the population each year. So there's a lot of hogs that need to be killed in Texas. That's the end of that story. So we're going to kill hogs. So you book yourself a hunt. You find a place like the Spike Box Ranch that you can book the hunt, get out there and do it. What are you going to do? What are you going to take? Well, I'm going to take a bolt-action 30-06 that my grandpa gave me. Okay, great. If you want to do that, fantastic. Do it. But did you just buy an AR-15, and have you not even put 100 rounds through your AR-15 yet? Or maybe you put 200 rounds through your AR-15, and you've got an EOTech on it, or an aim point, or a Trijicon, or whatever. Have you ever actually gone out and shot anything living with that? Have you done it from, prone position in a field, kneeling, standing, off of shooting sticks, shot at a moving target, what have you? Shot at night, in the dark, using night vision, using white light, using thermals. These are all challenges for you. And this gives you a fantastic opportunity. Dudes, all that cool ninja tactical stuff, take it out, put it on your body, get it out into the field. Go out into the field. Get dirty, get dusty, get sweaty. Use your gear. You want to find out if something is really valuable, if it actually is going to perform like it's supposed to. If it's going to fail, it's going to fail in the field. That's when you'll know. And that's when you'll know the limits of your own skill. There's a big difference between, sitting on a concrete bench, resting your rifle on a pad, and shooting at a bullseye at 100 yards. You're like, woohoo, man, I'm awesome, I rock. Okay, great. Get up off the concrete bench, get out into the field when your heart is pumping, when your blood is coursing through your veins, because now it's not a piece of paper in front of that red dot, it's an actual animal that can move and do, animals are unpredictable. You know if they're going to go left, right, you don't know if they're going to come straight at you, you don't know what they're going to do. And the thing is, unlike a piece of paper, which will just sit there forever and ever and ever and not move, your window of opportunity on an animal is pretty short. They're not going to sit there all day with a perfect quartering shot waiting for you to press the trigger. You might have a 2 or 3 second window of opportunity to put the bullet down range, and if you don't, it's going to be gone. All of these things test your equipment, test your skill, test your gear, test your ability to actually make that gear work. Can you, if you were walking along and a hog jumped up and you had only 5 seconds to sweep the safety off, find your front sight or your red dot, put it on there and put them down, could you do it? Could you take a shot in 5 seconds or 2 seconds or 3 seconds? You tell me, man. Or if you come up on a group of 5 or 6 or 10 pigs, could you shoot more than one before the rest of them got away? Could you shoot one, transition over to another one, transition back to the other one, get this one, help your buddy out who's got one that's wounded? Could you do all that stuff? These are all the things that you get to do during a hog hunt. So if you haven't figured it out yet, I am highly recommending that you get, your knives, your gear, your packs, your boots. You want to find out if boots are comfortable? Put those things on your feet, get out of the truck, and stalk. And we had a couple of them there were at least, what that one did to shoot the coyote, what did we stalk, like 2,000 yards or something like that?
That was a long way.
Yeah, we parked the truck and we stalked in quietly and we minded the wind and all that. and we finally got a coyote that wasn't smart enough to get away. But we actually walked a couple thousand yards from the truck to get to that. And guess what? When you walk 2,000 yards away from the truck, what do you have to do? you turn around and you're like, oh, man, did we walk that far? Now we got to walk all the way back to the truck before we go again. Or sometimes you have someone that's running the thermal imager, and they see something that looks like a giant hog off in the distance. So you park the truck,
or it looks like a normal size hog because it's so far away.
Yeah, and so you park the truck, and you very cautiously stalk down the field road until you find out that 150 yards in front of you is a bunch of cattle, not hogs.
And that brings up a good point. You need to be sure of your target before you pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't just shoot at shapes, at images. We can't just shoot at sounds behind a bush, because as much as the ranchers in Texas want you to get rid of the pigs, if you put a bullet into a $3,000 steer, they're not going to be happy with you. That is an expensive mistake. You just bought a lot of steak, basically, is what I'm telling you. You just bought $3,000 worth of steak and hamburger if you do that, and they're not going to be pleased with you. So you need to know what you're doing, especially at night and twilight and so forth. The great thing about, what do we find, Jared, when you're night hunting, when you're hunting in complete darkness, you use thermal imagers to find the game, and then you use the infrared or the night vision to actually put the rounds on them.
Yeah, the thermal is what we used to stalk them and find.
To spot them.
It was way easier to use the thermal than it was the night vision, because obviously they're hot and the field was cool.
Right, and not only that, but those little suckers blend in really well. How many times did we shoot them? They would go down in the field, and we were trying to find them with white light, and you practically trip over them before you get up to them. So I have little fun stories like that. As far as our gear, we were wearing Blackhawk boots and clothes and Blackhawk load-bearing gear, and we had white lights and infrared lights, and I used the Colt LE 901 rifle, both in the 308 configuration and in the 223 configuration. What else, Jared? Oh, we had our Cold Steel blades, and we baptized both of our Cold Steel blades. My Gladius, or Gladius, depends on where you're from. But the Gladius was baptized in the blood of a wild boar. So for just the upcoming crusades, we figured we'd go ahead and prep our blades with hog's blood. What else, Jared? You want to get into the slave state news?
Do we have anything else that we want to talk about?
Well, I mean, we could yak all day. I mean, the guys up there at the Spike Box Ranch were fantastic. Not just, we talked about Anthony, but Ron and Ronnie and Tyler.
Ronnie and Tyler, yeah.
And Tyler, those guys were all fantastic. Great guides, great outfitters, lots of good food. You're in Texas, so you're going to eat lots of steak and hamburger and so forth. It's just what you're going to do. And we were on a cattle ranch, and one of the guys said something about having chicken for dinner, and the cook's like, I don't want to hear that. We don't eat chicken here. We eat beef. We're like, okay. It's a working cattle ranch, dude. We're going to have some beef. And, of course, we're going to have some sausage, too, which we did. It was a good time. And we would like to thank our buddies again at DRT Ammo for inviting us out, for putting the whole thing together. Nathan at DRT basically organized the entire event, got everybody out there. We used products, obviously, from DRT, from Streamlight. We used our own products from Surefire, Blackhawk, Colt. The Colt LE, the Colt rifle ran like a champ, no problem there. So thanks again, and let's talk about some slave state news.
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to.
All right, I don't know if this story is not going to make Gary the Enforcer happy. We've got another Chicago story here. Chicago. This is not going to make Gary the Enforcer happy, but what we do find is that It doesn't matter what happens in Chicago or Illinois. It doesn't matter how many times gun control laws fail, how many times gangbangers kill each other with guns. It's never the fault of the human. Unless you're a gun owner, then it's your fault. But it's always the fault of the object or that there are not enough laws. Now, this the source for this story is WTHR.com. And the title is Chicago Police, Shooting Suspect Shouldn't Have Had Gun. Well, what? Dateline Chicago, this is October 10th, the story was updated. Police are revealing new information about the man accused of going on a shooting spree in Indianapolis last week. Daniel Brown, 42, is accused of shooting 6 people, including 2 Chicago police officers. And you're like, uh-oh, that's not going to make the enforcer happy. Well, police are upset. Listen to this. Police are upset because Brown never should have had a gun in the first place after they say he was arrested in Chicago 7 times. Not 9 times, but 7 times, including 3 felony arrests, 2 of which police say he was convicted. Okay, so here we go. You want to do your Chicago math here. He gets arrested 7 times. 3 of the arrests are for felonies, and 2 of those arrests resulted in conviction. I guess that's pretty good, you know. What have we told you? They're like, well, how come the police don't just catch these bad guys and put them in jail? They do catch them, and they do put them in the system, and then they don't stay in jail. They're recidivist criminals. They're career criminals. They're just going to keep on doing it. Oh, unless you give them a day pass in Toronto, you know, after they cut their mom's head off. But that's a different story. It says, so how did Brown get the gun police say he used to shoot the first 3 people in Indianapolis Saturday and then 3 more in Chicago? According to police, Brown's girlfriend bought a Smith & Wesson .40 caliber handgun legally in Indiana. That gun, Chicago police say, in the hands of Brown, ended with 6 people being shot across 2 states. Now, so what is the solution? Well, dude, we got a quote from McCarthy here. Gary McCarthy, the enforcer, says, either one of those bullets that hit Captain Ed Kulbida could have killed him. It's by millimeters and perhaps divine intervention. Really, Gary? You're going to quote divine intervention? As much of a socialist puke face that you are, you're going to talk about God. All right, whatever, Gary. Divine intervention that he's speaking to us today, said Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy. And then McCarthy went on to say, the firearm used by Brown on Tuesday was legally purchased by his girlfriend from a store in Indiana in November of 2012. So, well, what if they would have had a 5-day background check or waiting period, Jared? If they had a 5-day waiting period, this wouldn't have happened, right? No, it still would have happened because why? Because this guy, she bought the gun 2 years before he used it. Oh, let's get I got another quote from Gary here, and I haven't even read the quote yet, so I'm going to say it as I'm reading it. You hear me say it all the time, and guess what? You're going to hear me say it again. Our violence problem is a gun problem in the city of Chicago, said McCarthy. Even when faced with the complete and total failure of Chicago, Illinois gun control laws, Gary the enforcer cannot admit that they're wrong. Gary, you're such a disingenuous puke face. How does this guy sleep? How does he shave? How does this guy look in a mirror when he is so dishonest and so disingenuous? Jared, do you know?
No, I don't. I don't understand.
Duct tape, head, you duct tape?
Maybe he just doesn't look at himself.
Apparently he doesn't. Maybe he has someone shave him for him. It says, here we go. It happens time and again where thank you, Gary. We can always count on Gary the enforcer to to give us some awesome insanity. It happens time and again where a convicted felon like Mr. Brown gets someone else, perhaps a girlfriend or a family member, to purchase a gun for them because they're not allowed to do it legally.
So I've got a question. This gun was purchased 2 years ago. Did she purchase the firearm for him to use? I'm going to say probably not.
I don't know. I mean, maybe she did.
At least not for this instance. So
Well,
he's had this gun for 2 years.
Yeah, the gun was legally purchased by the girlfriend 2 years ago, and then it got into the hands of this guy who used it to commit felonies.
But the gun didn't commit any felonies before he had it.
Well, it's I don't know. Maybe the gun had latent violent tendencies.
Oh, okay.
And the violent tendencies of the gun, it took 2 years for them to to come to fruition. How about that? Are we coming up on the end?
Yeah, we're getting towards the end here.
I'm trying to say my words, and Jared's giving me the wrap it up finger on the other side of the glass there. Okay, we thought you guys would appreciate that in Chicago, in the slave state of Illinois, that it doesn't matter how many times they're shown that their gun control and gun restriction laws don't stop criminals from getting guns. What did we learn from this, Gary? That criminals are always going to get their hands on guns. Because guess what? They're criminals. And all your gun control laws do, Gary, is continue to disarm the honest people, the citizens. They do nothing to stop violent crime. But that's not going to stop Gary. Not one little bit. Oh, my Lord in heaven. I don't even know what to say about this. It's insanity. But what do you expect? What do you expect? Now, coming up during the bonus hour, we're going to talk about monarch butterflies. We're going to got a personal question. Remember the Ask a Personal Question to Paul and Jared. If you guys have got something on your mind, you're like, all right, I want to ask Paul, I want to ask Jared a personal question, go ahead and post it in forums.studentofthegun.com, and we're going to pick one every week out of there, and we're going to answer it. Don't forget about the flashlight giveaway, and don't forget, you need to watch us every Monday night on Dish Network, channel 266 at 9 p.m. Eastern, Shentel Cable, Wilderness TV on Roku, Apple, and Chromecast. And you can also download the mobile app for free to your iPhone, iPad, or Android device. You can do all that stuff. And if you can't do any of that, if you're functionally illiterate, or let's say you're an old guy and you don't understand all this high-tech gee-whiz stuff, have your 14-year-old grandson come over and type in studentofthegun.com on your computer and have him push enter, and you can sit there and watch the show. How's that sound?
And then you can bookmark it, so you just have to click.
That's right. Oh, you just blew them away. Bookmark it? Like with a piece of paper?
Yeah.
You're going to have dudes trying to figure out a place to stick a piece of paper in their monitor now, Jared. Way to go. All right, coming up in part 2 of Student of the Gun Radio this week, D.C. cops don't need guns. What? Who said that? It was a council member in D.C. that said they don't need guns. So make sure that you tune in for the very next segment of Student of the Gun Radio. You are a beginner once. You should indeed be a student for life.